Hello, you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. Yeah, I'm excited because we have a lot to talk about. I can't believe how today went. I mean, I guess nothing huge, but still, it's crazy to see him. And just we're going to get into all of that. And we're going to talk about Madeline Pantoja being found as well. Hey, K-Braze. Hey, Wolfie. Hey, Eddie. Hey, Pointer Lover. Hey, Nadie. Hey, Ava. Yeah, agree. Let me see. Hey, No Bed of Roses. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Peace Dog. Hey, Amber. Amber Lou. Hey, other Amber. Hey, B Crumbs. Let's see. Thank you guys for being here. Hey, No Nation. Hi, Mark. Forever chasing the sun. Okay, I just want to take a second to say something because I was thinking about this. I have, of course, Jen Lou, my special guest, to come up, but I gotta say, I am lucky. I am really lucky that you are my partner in crime because you are smart. You're so smart and so funny. And I don't know, I was thinking earlier about that because actually Amber and CDT I saw in chat, like said something like, you're the best partner in crime. And I was like, you know what? I'm pretty lucky to have Jen Lou too, because you're smart and funny. And yeah, I love you.
Thank you. I love you too. You know, I adore you, Allie, and you are incredibly smart. Don't shortchange yourself because you come up with stuff that I don't be thinking about.
You always do make me feel better about that sometimes when you're like, hello, do not cut yourself short, because sometimes I'm like, I don't even know why people listen. But yeah,
because you're smart and you're funny and you care.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.
Hey, Headphones. Hey, Tiff. So, hey, Kathy. Oh my gosh, today, what are your thoughts immediately? And then I got a bunch to show you to hear like your thoughts on, but just overall.
I mean, I'm not really surprised it went the way that it went today. I've not ever heard of standing silent, but I did do a little looking into it, and I kind of think I might have an explanation, a potential reason why. There's a couple of reasons, but I only think that one is way more likely than the other. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I got to know. Let's hear what you think, and then I'll show you some of the things I found. And look, you guys are so sweet. We love you guys together. I adore you guys. Thank you guys.
Thank y'all.
Yeah. So what are the two reasons why you think, and what do you think the reason is?
Okay. So when I was looking into it, there's been a few people that have, a few attorneys that the mainstream media has, said, asked, and they've consulted and they've given their opinion, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the potential reasons is because they might want to continue negotiating with the state. I don't think that's what the reason is. I think it's strategic. I think it has to do more with her not wanting Bryan to say not guilty out loud. It's more of a publicity thing because, people have made up their minds about this case already and whether or not he is guilty. And I think that's why she did it. I think rather than have the blowback from him pleading not guilty and people taking to social media and saying, can you believe that rat bastard pled not guilty? He's guilty, guilty, guilty. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter what Ann Taylor thinks. Her job is to represent her client. And in her capacity as representing her client, she has to ensure that due process is followed, that none of his rights are trampled on, they're all, upheld, and that everything goes correctly. And that's what her job is. That's the oath as an attorney she took, as a defense attorney as well. She's protecting his rights. And I know that frustrates people. However, if we trample on one person's rights, we might as well trample on everybody's, because it's a slippery slope from there.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I do. We can't do that. I don't know. It's interesting. I think that, like, I was thinking about this today when I was listening to that second hearing. I'm sorry, but his attorneys seem like they're going to be very good, and that they are going to fight tooth and nail, very opposite of what we've seen in the last few cases. And I told you that before, just based on the fact that they showed up so quickly and stuff. But I just think that they're on the ball, and it'll be interesting I want that, right? Because I want to see, I want to see that. I want to see both sides. I want to see, I just think that that'll make it more interesting. Look at what Peace Dog said. He's emulating BTK in so many ways. From the age they both committed their first murder to killing 4 people the first time. I could go on and on. To the, has anyone else been arrested? Didn't he say that too? Was it he the one?
Yes, but I don't think that was BTK. That was Gacy.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Well, let me say this. I can't remember if BTK said that, but I know that Gacy did.
Ooh, thank you. Oh my God, Jamie, no way.
What? Let me see.
The affidavit for Mario Chacon and Madeline Pantoja, it's been released, and she doesn't have that, but there is an article that outlines it.
Okay.
Yay, so we'll get to look at that after we talk about some of this. So let me grab
I wonder if I can get it. Ooh. Because I do have, so whenever I got my Florida driver's license, my Texas license was expired, right? So she didn't make me turn it over. She was like, do you want to keep this? And yeah, I do, because it was very hard for me to give up a driver's license in Texas and take one from Florida. Right. Although I have to say, sorry, you guys, Florida driver's licenses are kind of cute. I'm not gonna lie.
Florida driver's licenses are kind of cute. Well,
they are. Their colors are kind of cute. They're kind of summery, They're kind of cute. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, Eddie, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Nicole, obviously I can't chat. Sending and nothing else. Oh my God, I despise this creep copying out of a book he read. So I was listening to you today, and I know you said you didn't think he had lost weight. I'm not sure about the weight loss. However, you can tell, that he's not seeing the sun much. He looks very,
Yes. And but I will say that he he definitely looks like he's been deprived of vitamin D, which is, I think, what's causing those dark circles under his eyes. And but I have to say, I was looking, when I was watching Dateline, they showed like some other older pictures of Bryan from when he was younger and whatnot. And he's always been pasty. I don't know another way to say it, but he's always been kind of pasty. But definitely, he's looking, I can't imagine that the vegan meal in jail is, jail food is not nutritious. It's meant to keep you alive. That's about it. They're not providing you like a well-balanced, you ain't getting the full food pyramid. Okay. Let's just be real here. It's jail.
Yep.
And that's it. And that's what it looks like. But to me, he doesn't look, what I'm more shocked about than anything is that his hair hasn't grown very much.
I heard you say that. I wonder if he's getting it cut in there. Just let me say thank you for a sec to Teresa. Thank you so much, Teresa. I do really, really appreciate that. And there was one more comment I was going to show you. This one. By standing silent, he's showing his pretentiousness towards the courts. Just my observance. which is kind of interesting. And then, but yeah, I wonder if he's getting his hair cut in there. Hey, LFT. And then this one too. I'm sorry. Was reading all the comments and I don't want to miss these because they're good ones. But Amber says the lawyer said he's very confident the state will seek the death penalty and that Bryan may have already been speaking with him about a plea. That's why he stood silent. See, I've heard that, but I could not disagree more. Everything in my being tells me that he is going to fight to the end. But maybe I'm wrong. That's just my opinion.
Well, I'll say this. It's very possible that Ann Taylor may have thrown out a line fishing to see what the state would offer. But at the end of the day, the best the state, in my opinion, is likely going to offer is life without the possibility of parole.
Yep.
So it wouldn't be advantageous to Bryan. The only thing worse is that he would get the death penalty.
Yep,
and Idaho is allowing the firing squad. And that might, I don't know. I have heard, and of course I can't tell you whether it's true or not. I can't speak to it because if I had received the medications that they give you during the death penalty, I obviously would not be on this panel speaking to you right now. Or I'd have to use a Ouija board to contact you with my feelings from beyond. However, I've heard that it's not exactly, it's not painless.
Oh, interesting.
That there is some burning, and it's not a completely pain-free death. However, I don't think any death is completely pain-free. If I'm being quite honest, number one, and number two. My only objection to the death penalty has always been that the person receiving the death penalty is afforded a luxury that their victims were not, which is they know the day that they're going to die, and they have time to say what they want to say to the people they want to say it to, where their victims did not have that same they didn't get that same courtesy, and that's really my big objection to it. But I would never, if the families of the victims want the death penalty, then I would support that, because ultimately it was their family member. It's their decision. That's just how I feel, though.
Interesting. I mean, that they've said they wanted it. Xana's mom says that she doesn't, but I don't think she was super present in Xana's life anyway. I don't know if that matters. But like, so I don't know. I agree with you, Tiff. Everything he does is intentional. Now, two things. I got to hear your opinion on it, and then I'm going to move on to some videos I want to watch with you. But first,
okay.
KPM says he looks like he's on drugs, and I have to agree. Look at him here, like his eyes. They look, I don't know, maybe he's not on drugs and he just has really creepy eyes, but they almost do look like he's either in withdrawal or on some sort of speed. And then the other thing I got to hear your opinion on is this thing about Dateline saying that he could be Papa Roger. And I know that you sort of went into this on your channel, but still, I want to talk about that for a moment because it's very interesting. Papa Roger actually didn't have he had the placement of the victims wrong. Now, unless Ethan moved, I mean, he didn't actually have everything right. So it's kind of interesting.
Right. Okay, I think that a huge part of the reason people are believing that if he is Papa Rogers, I think is subconscious, because we know that he studied under the professor who also studied BTK, and BTK, one of the things that he enjoyed doing was taunting the police, although he did it and he did it in a similar fashion. BTK never wrote direct, or I don't want to say never, but I can't think of a time that he did write to the cops directly. All of the letters were actually mailed to a local news station. And that's what he did. And if you think about it, now what are you throwing around over there, Allie?
I have like this drink that keeps your drink clean or cold, but
Oh,
the
oh,
lid won't
oh.
fit on. And then my little pink drink, you guys, I found these at the Dollar General, but it's really yummy. That's all.
Yummy.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I just trying to lighten the mood a little. If you think about it, in cases like this, we don't get the news from the news anymore like we used to. We do get some news, right? But mainly, where do we go? Social media.
Mm-hmm.
That's, so I think if it does it sound like behavior that he may have be capable of and even have done? Sure. But it's also possible that he made some very lucky guesses.
Right.
Based on information that was already in the media. I mean, look, I made a lucky guess. I said he would not waive his right to a speedy trial, and he didn't. What does that mean? I had a 50-50 shot. I was either going to be right or I was going to be wrong. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and I don't think that we should read a whole hell of a lot into that right now. I will wait, because for whatever reason, the law enforcement doesn't seem to want to address it. So, not that now they can't, but before before the gag order, they could, and they didn't. So, I don't know why they're not addressing it, but I'll wait until it can be verified.
Right. Well, I like to do that anyways. Honestly, it's best policy. It's not okay to speculate, but really, you just never know. Like we talked about last night, that what we watched on Melissa's is like the best example of time to wait, and you need to wait and see.
Yes.
This Mel says he's soaking up all the cameras. His drug is attention and fascination. He believes he is truly special and worthy of study. It's interesting because the inmates who have spoken out that are in jail with him or were in jail with him have said that he does watch the news and he'll watch coverage on his case. He's very attentive when his case comes across the television, which I would be too. But it's interesting. And look here, this is Kaylee's sister, Olivia, who did all the interviews. Mm-hmm. She was there with her baby today. And I wanted to show you this picture because we're going to listen to someone who was in the courtroom and their description of what was happening and what everyone was doing. But first, I just wanted to show you that. And then, I know. She named him after, I think she named her like Madison, something after the girls. I can't remember exactly.
Aww.
Okay, now. Let me grab. Now, you watched the second hearing. I watched that too. What did you take from that?
Well, I will say that what I took from it more than anything was that the Goncalves family is not they are not. Their issues are not about the media and the media's access. Their issues are they want clarification and they want their attorney to be able to speak for them. And that's what they want. The media wants something completely different. And the judge is like, well, I'm going to have to hear it all. I'm not going to just be doing this in 87 parts. We're going to hear it. I'm going to hear it and I'm going to hear it all. And then I'm going to let y'all know what I decide.
Right.
Which I thought was I like this judge.
I do too. But the judge openly said that he believes the media is doing damage in the case, or at least to having a fair trial.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because there's so much speculation.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually seen a case that has been covered like this. I don't know what you're talking about, Unseen Thinkers, because even the Watts case, as popular as it was, I don't think it was this popular. This has been, and that's
I think it was popular, but I think it was not as followed and covered as closely.
Yeah, because so that's just based on like my videos and their views, like on TikTok mainly. Because on TikTok, this case, I had a few videos hit 1 million views, which I took one of them down, and many videos hit over 500, 600, 700,000. With the Watts case, that was actually one of my most viewed videos for a long time on TikTok at like 300,000. But never, ever did they get up to like, you need to be on TikTok, because when these cases, I mean, there were accounts that just started that were also getting the same views because people were very interested in this case, And
my oldest daughter has been telling me to let her make a TikTok and manage it for me. I should do it. I don't know.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, and let her help you. That'd be so fun because you guys, that's a good way for you guys to connect and stuff, or just spend time together. The judge reprimanded the Associated Press. I guess.
Well, yeah, because he didn't like the use of the term irreparable harm with respect to that he basically, the Associated Press is arguing that this gag order is doing irreparable harm and violating their rights. And the judge is like, bruh, first of all, calm down. Irreparable harm, I think that's extra even for the media. And second of all, as the judge, I have to weigh out the public's right to know with the defendant getting a fair trial. And if I have to pick whose right is more important, it's going to be that the defendant gets a fair trial. So go somewhere else with your irreparable harm. That's listen, that's not like literally what he said, but those were his sentiments, or that's how I took it anyways.
Well, I have to agree with Missy's Angels here. If they, if there was more transparency, there'd be less rumors. But it's a fine line,
It's a very, very fine line. The problem is that okay, so in this day and age, you're not going to find a jury, right? That it's rare, that completely has never, ever, 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 ever heard of a case, especially a case like as big as this one. Okay. But what you're trying to do is have it where even if they've heard something about it, they can set that aside and base their decision solely on what is in the courtroom, what's presented in the courtroom, which is what they're supposed to do. However, the more inundated a human being is with pretrial information, particularly salacious, scandalous, gory, those types of details are very, very difficult for us as human beings to completely. You can't unknow something. Right. And so we have in the United States, we have the right to attend hearings and trials. Okay. In person. Exactly. Correct. That is the way that our system has set up for the public as a checks and balance system to make sure that everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing. We don't have the absolute right to have every single detail of the information as it comes in. That's not our right.
Correct.
The only person that has that right is Bryan Kohberger. He has the right to the entire discovery, which would be the entire investigation. Anybody and everybody they ever suspected, looked at, talked to, et cetera, all evidence, blah, 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 all that stuff. He has that right. The public does not.
Yep, I completely agree. And you know what? I actually thought about this when they set the date. I can't believe how soon it is. That's really soon, you guys. But I would love to go in person. I would love nothing more than go in person. It's only less than 5 months away, 4.5 months away. And I probably wouldn't be able to because it's happening during school. But if you want to get all the details and see everything, you have to go in person. And that's just that. I'm going to ask a question and then I'm going to start our video, but go ahead and say this while I type out I'm doing a poll,
Okay. Okay, I want to go, and I would love to see a trial in person, and specifically this trial, because I think I'm just very interested in it, and I think it's going to be a lot of back and forth, arguments, and that's what I really like about a trial. Um, but it's October in Idaho, and I come from the Floridas. Y'all, I would never get
Yeah.
warm. I would have to dress like
No,
the
you
little
would
boy
freeze.
from A Christmas Story, all wrapped up, I can't put my arms down.
Hey, but look on with his arms like halfway out because the
Yes,
sun. But look,
I
you
can't
could
put
get.
my arms down.
I was just looking on Temu at these jackets that are heated. So
Uh-oh.
they have heaters in them, like so we could get those and and go. I'm serious, Jen. We should talk about this because would that not be wow? It'd be really cool. I would love to go.
Me too. I agree. There will be some jurors, right, that have not heard about this case. However, the more information that comes out, and it's mainly because look at the public interest in it, right? So most people, it's not going to come from YouTube. YouTube is not going to taint the jury pool. What will taint the jury pool are shows like Inside Edition, Dateline, 48 Hours, anything they do on Investigation Discovery, Oxygen, the things that the majority of people watch. And that's why they're just being out of an abundance of caution. I think it's better to err on the side of caution. I think it's better to say, well, I would rather consider it as a possibility, a real possibility, than not, and risk him not getting a fair trial. I just want to see this guy. Look, if he's the right guy, I want to see the right person charged and convicted with the right crime. So, but I want to make sure it's done in a fair way and not done in he shouldn't be tried in public.
I totally agree
You
with
know,
you. Hey, Midwest Meemaw. Okay, I'm gonna press play and watch some of this with you and go. I'm actually gonna go pee real fast while it's starting to play. Okay. This is
okay,
actually
okay.
so what it is it a woman who was in the courtroom is on Law and Crime talking about everyone that was there, their body language, things like that, and then she has experts on to answer questions. She actually has Johnny Depp's lawyer, Ben or whatever, the goofy guy, him, and yeah, a couple other
Chow?
people.
Ben Chow? Oh, I love
Yes.
him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Wait, I think it's Chew. Is it Chow or
Two.
Chew? I
Yep,
can't
you're right.
remember. Yeah, Ben Chew.
I'm Antoinette Levy, and we are coming to you live from the Latah County Courthouse in Moscow, Idaho, where Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students, appeared in court just a short time ago. Thank you so much for joining us for this hour of Law and Crime. It's a special hour where we will be taking your questions, so submit those to us on Facebook, Twitter, and in our YouTube chat, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. But I want to tell you, first of all, about what happened in the courtroom this morning. Bryan Kohberger was arraigned at noon Eastern Time, 9 Pacific. He entered the courtroom with his attorney, Ann Taylor. I was in the back row on one side of the courtroom with much of the other members of the media. The other side of the courtroom was mostly full of family members. Maddie Mogen's mother was sitting in one of the front rows. The family members, the father and mother and sister of Kaylee Gonsalves, were in one of the back rows. Steve Gonsalves has been very vocal throughout this process. As John Judge read the charges and the indictment to Bryan Kohberger, Bryan Kohberger said yes, very forcefully each time and emphatically yes, that he understood the penalties associated with the 1 burglary charge and 4 first-degree murder charges. He also understood he had a right to counsel. He understands all of his rights because he has a PhD. He was seeking a PhD in ology at Washington State University. So it was very quiet in the courtroom, not much emotion or reaction from Bryan Kohberger, all business in there as Judge read the charges.
Judge.
And he stood silent when he was asked to enter a plea. And So the judge entered not guilty pleas on his behalf. So that's basically what happened. No emotion really from members of the families of the victims, the 4 victims, Kaylee Gonsalves, Maddie Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. A few people wiping tears. Kaylee Gonsalves' mother comforting Maddie Mogan's mother. Of course, we know that the person who committed these crimes, who the state says is Bryan Kohberger, went to Maddie Mogan's room first that morning on November 13th. So let's bring in our panel.
Okay, now I want to watch the panel, but also I have a quick short of his reaction, what she was talking about. Let me grab that. The moment Evil Exists has like a 13-second video of him smirking at his attorney, and then here's the first one.
Do you understand the maximum penalty? Yes. Do you understand the charge in count 4, murder in the first degree? Yes. Do you understand the maximum penalty? Yes. Do you understand the charge in count 5, murder in the first degree? Do you understand the maximum penalty? Yes. Okay, Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
Okay, because Mr. Kohberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on each charge. Counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, at this juncture, the state has 60 days to give notice of intention to seek the death penalty. And Mr. Kohberger.
Okay. So, what do you think? Do you think they will seek the death penalty? I think they will. And I know you said you think it should be up to the family, but do you think they'll go for it? I would bet anything they do. I think Jen's might be away from her thing for us.
Oh, no, I'm here. I just, I was muted and I didn't unmute and I was answering you. Yes, I definitely think they will seek the death penalty. And, I think that they've likely already talked to the family about it. And they've all, aside from Xana's mom, I think all of them that have spoken out have been, in favor of him getting the death penalty. So I think they absolutely will seek the death penalty.
Well, Steve Gonsalves is the one who said, what you said that, like, not today, but you said this the other day, that you have to go back and forth over the death penalty because they still are able to have TVs and all of that stuff. And can you imagine? And like you said, I don't get to talk to Kaylee. She don't get to sit in the cell and watch old movies and have a vegan diet delivered to her and all of this stuff. If at least then we could go visit her. So I definitely think they're going for that. Okay. Wolfie sent me some TikToks too, but first I'm going to play some of these experts' question and answers and pause along the way. I'm also going to get Steve Gonsalves, I believe, did an interview outside of the courthouse, and I'm going to find that too while we're playing this.
Okay.
As I mentioned, we're going to be taking your questions. With me today, Ben Chu, a famed civil attorney for Johnny Depp, represented him in his successful defamation trial last year. Florina Altschuler is a former prosecutor and currently a defense attorney. And of course, Law and Crime host Linda Kenny Bodden is here with me as well, also a famed defense attorney. So thanks everybody for being here today. Let's get to some of our questions. The first one is from Facebook and it comes from Tony Horton. What about the 2 students that were in the house and he didn't touch? Why? Are they involved? So Linda, I'll throw that question to you. This question is referring to the 2 surviving roommates who will be witnesses in this case. We know their names, probably not going to use them at this point in time, but we know that one of those roommates said that she saw a man clad in black walking through the house. So why did he not do anything with these other roommates, Linda, in your opinion?
Well, one of the roommates appeared to have been downstairs at the entry level that we saw the cars being parked. That hasn't been confirmed yet, but obviously that was reported and never refuted in the media. The other roommate, as you know, is the one who saw him in clad in black, and the defense
Wow,
wanted
look
to
at
take
it. The
statements
window's boarded up.
from these roommates, feeling that what they saw was exculpatory. I believe that he just didn't see them. He went. He had a target. I believe the target was up on that top floor, one or two targets, and he came down. And remember, he was engaged in a fight, such a fight that obviously he left his sheath in the room, which because of that we have DNA, says the prosecution. And then he came down. He had finished what he's doing. He's spent at this point. He wants to get out of there, and
now.
he may not have seen the other
I know.
roommate, who usually apparently wasn't in that room or wasn't expected to be in that room.
And I think it is important that we point out that there were 3 floors to this room, to this home. The third floor, Maddie's room, where the killer went to find whomever he was looking for, whether it was Maddie, Kaylee, or both. And then Kaylee's room was up top. Xana and Anna's bedroom was on the second floor, along with one of the surviving roommates. And then the first floor had one of the other surviving roommates on that first floor. So there may have been one person in particular, possibly Maddie, that the killer was looking for that night, and then encountered others, sadly. Let's get to our next question from YouTube. This is
before we go to their question, because I'm curious. I didn't watch through all of this all the way, so I want to see a few questions to answer. But I've never actually got your opinion. Do you have a theory on who the original intending victim was going to be?
Well, here's my thing about that. I'm sure it's possible that there was an intended target, right? A primary victim. But this is where I'm stuck on, like, coming up with who that would be. Because I don't know enough about the injuries, that have been verified. And so I feel like that is a huge missing piece that I myself need to know. But I think that at one point my theory was, what if the true targets, as just an incredible act of cruelty, was actually one of the surviving roommates, so that they would have to survive and suffer through it. I had that theory for about 5 minutes, because then I thought, well, maybe, but still, who knows? I just don't know enough. I feel like, so I can't, I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel right about saying, so one of them was the intended target. I've often wondered if it was just the house itself, only because they seem to represent something that he just wasn't. I mean, they had a lot of friends. They had active social lives. They were well liked. They were in sororities.
Well, okay, so I agree with you. I think that was a very smart answer. Also safe to wait. It's better to do that. I asked because she claimed she believes, the lady who was talking said possibly Madison was now that could make sense, because we know that Kaylee was no longer a full-time resident there, and that kind of stuff. I think that could make sense. However, I just don't think we know enough. I mean, for a long time, I always wondered if it was Kaylee, just because she's very, she seemed to be put herself a little more out there in a way. And maybe that was my perspective. But yeah, I think that, and I have to agree with Melissa, because she said she doesn't think that you can determine who was the original victim yet. And I know there's a lot of theories. We have heard there was difference in their wounds and stuff, not officially. But she says, I do think Xana and Ethan were collateral damage, and for lack of a better term, and I agree. It makes sense because, it just makes sense based on the location of their bedroom and him walking out and that kind of thing, her being up eating on TikTok. I don't think he was going to walk through the whole house to see obviously. I just don't think so. And I don't think the roommates are involved at all. I think they've gotten enough shit. And I see why people wonder. I really do. And any opinions are welcome here. But my personal opinion is we have to wait and see. Whatever that exculpatory evidence, I fear that it's nothing, and it was blown up out of proportion. And a lot of times we see that. And Jen, you've really got into my head on that, because I mean, hello, you see the roommates were there for 8 hours and didn't call 911. What the hell? Why? But I'm taking a wait and see approach on that, because I don't think that they were like, I feel like if they were involved and they knew Bryan or something like that, surely to God, they would have been arrested by now.
Yeah. And I think that I want to take a wait and see approach, because I've read that PCA, like, I don't know, at least 11 billion times. I don't know another. I have to come up with a number that's greater than 11 billion. I'll think about that. But at this point, I've read it 11 billion times at least.
11 billion.
11 billion, million, trillion times. And I sort of, I'm always struck by me, I'm like words are important, and so the language, I'm struck by the language in that. And the way that it's written, I think, really analyzing it, it's not written as like, you can tell that it is part of, hold on a second. It's part of the her story, right? It's part of her statement. There is a huge chunk of information missing from that statement.
Oh, yeah.
That they put in the probable cause affidavit. I have to hop down really quick. My sister's calling me. I'm going to talk to her really, really quick, and then I will come right back. You'll still be live in like 5 or 20 minutes. Okay. Let me call my sister back. All right. I'll be right back, you guys.
Okay, beautiful. All right. Thank you. Yeah, you guys, I plan on going through this for like at least another. I have a lot I want to talk about with this and with Madeline with Madeline's case. Mario Chacon was arrested. I want to look at the article that outlines the affidavit. There is a live video. When I get my hands on the affidavit, hopefully by tomorrow, we can do a live going through it all together. I really hope that more people will get interested in that case. Yeah, but anyways. Okay, so Melissa, I'm curious why you think they were both awake that night, because I'm just curious what leads you to believe that. And let me see, there was another comment that I was going to. Angela, I heard so much trash talking today about the roommates. We just don't know. We'll have to wait and find out. So, I mean, I've already felt this way because I've been wrong about cases, but after last night, hearing that what we did on Melissa's, and here's her channel, you guys, if you missed it, you definitely want to check it out. It was an interview between Gannon Stouck's best friend's mother and a YouTube channel, and it was 3 years ago. And the amount of, they were wrong about a lot, and there was a lot of blaming towards Al, a lot of accusations. I mean, they literally accused him of shooting Gannon to cover for Letitia. And I never want to do that. I don't want to do that, because like Al was a victim. He was already hurting, and so just, that's my thoughts on that. However, I want to know why they waited 8 hours. I want to hear the story. It does not make sense. There is something going on, and I think that we hopefully will get a better picture of it during the trial, because they're going to be witnesses. There is no getting around that for them. They are not children. It's not going to be like a Lena Stouck thing. They are both going to be witnesses, period. We've already seen the defense demanding for Bethany to be there. If we knew everything that happened and all the evidence, do you really think that everyone would still cover the story, because we would already know the truth, in my opinion? People can say what they would have done differently, but you really don't know until you're in a situation. Oh, yeah, I'm totally different from 19-year-old me, too. I don't think they were involved at all and never did. I do remember when we heard that I do remember when we heard that they were the ones who called 911. And just wondering how it took so. I do remember having some suspicion, right? I'm not going to lie, but I just think, yeah, Melissa, you got to tell me later when I talk to you, because I'm really interested in that, because I'm not sure I could say that I believe they were both up. I just don't know, but yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on that. It's interesting. I mean, I know Dylan was up, but with Bethany, was it? Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Hey, Yvette. Harley did as well. Yeah, come up, Melissa. I love that. I'm going to drop the link in chat. I will definitely do a pin screen. And until you get up here, we're going to listen to the next question for the experts.
From Pickle Smacks from YouTube. I'll send this one to you, Florina. Will the trial be televised? When will this likely go to trial? Thanks. I think we know the part of the answer to that regarding the October trial date that was set today.
Sure. So long as the court continues to give permission for cameras in the courtroom for the trial, I would expect that it would be televised. And I would expect that Law and Crime will cover it daily, provided that it goes forward in October as expected. Now, remember, the defense can ask for extra time if they need it. And it's possible that the defense will, in fact, adjourn this trial to have more time to prepare, to get experts, to question witnesses beforehand. So I don't know that it'll really go in October. I would expect it to go sometime next year.
I believe, in my opinion, if the defense is pushing it and not waiving their right to a speedy trial, the judge is going to be very cautious about pushing it back. Now, if the defense says, I don't have enough time to go through everything, they will push it back, because the last thing they want is a reason for an appeal.
And I think that's what we all expected, Florina. And Ben, I'm wondering, I'm just going to throw a question to you right now. Ben, why do you think that Ann Taylor and Bryan Kohberger are opting to have this trial date set right outside the speedy trial limits in October of this year? That seems very quickly. This could be a strategy, letting the defense know, or letting the prosecution know, hey, we're ready. Are you ready? Do you think that that's a little bit of what's going on here?
Yeah, and Jeanette, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think they wanted to show confidence, whether they actually feel it or not.
Absolutely.
And I agree with Florina that it probably will end up being pushed into next year.
And we're going to have to keep a close eye on that. And of course, we will here at Law and Crime as
well. That is so interesting. So Shaw Man talks about Bryan Kohberger, these new reports that he installed security systems for a coworker and then was accessing them through via password from, his own home and things like that, and watching her through her security systems. Oh God, Melissa. Hold on. Let me get the pin screen. I can't believe that's your icon. Now, as far as those security cameras, I don't know. I don't know if I believe it. I'm really leery of these secret sources when they can't be named. Hello?
Hi.
Okay, it's you.
It's me. I figured the avatar will give you a heads up. It's me.
Oh my God, how funny. How are you, Melissa? What are you up to?
I'm good. I'm just on my way home. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Just hanging out. Enjoying chatting with you guys.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say real quickly, okay, so if you look as per the PCA, within the PCA, it states that they were able to determine the time that the murders occurred based on Dylan and Bethany's phone data, along with, the footage, I guess, of the car and stuff, and the neighboring camera that picked up the thuds and stuff. So if these girls were sleeping, which they may have initially been sleeping, right? But we do know that Dylan was at least awake. How would their phone data determine when the murders occurred? Because if it was like, okay, so the victims, their phones would have just been non-existent, right? No activity, no nothing. Why wasn't Dylan and Bethany's phones doing the same thing? Instead, what I'm taking away from that is there was some type of communication going on. Like, maybe, did you hear that thud? You know, like, are you awake? You know, like, do you hear what's going on? Anything like that. There was something within those two girls' phones specifically that gave them an idea of when the murders occurred.
Okay, so I found exactly what you're talking about. It says the combination of Dylan's statements to law enforcement, reviews of forensic downloads of records from Bethany and Dylan's phones, and video of a suspect video as described below leads investigators to believe, wow, okay, that's really interesting.
So, like,
Dude,
right? So if it's like, if they were asleep, there would be nothing on their phones. There would be no phone activity. But it doesn't say, oh, it was after a download and analyzing all 6 of their phones, right? No, it was specifically Dylan and Bethany's, which tells me they were communicating either to one another or to outside sources about something. And it would imply something that they were hearing, witnessing, experiencing.
Now, could it be possible, because we know that Dylan was up and we know that for certain, but could it be possible that she was just texting Bethany and Bethany didn't wake up or something like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because that would include Bethany's phone too, right? You know, it would be Dylan messaging Bethany. It would be both their phones. But I highly doubt that Bethany was listen, what we do know is that written in the PCA that it was a collective between all of the rest and then the 2 surviving roommates' phone. And then we also do know that friends were summoned first. So that tells you before 911 was called, there was some type of, they were awake. They didn't just wake up and stumble upon it. Now, that doesn't mean it has to go to jumping in the deep end and they were involved, versus I just personally think it wasn't handled the ideal way. And I think people were told prior for one reason or another. And so it's just a matter of when. Were they awake the entire time? Or, did Dylan text Bethany? Bethany didn't answer till hours later, and that's when friends were summoned? I don't know.
Well, I think that's excellent observation. Even other people are like, wow, so I'm really glad you pointed this out. Now, I got to tell you, the other night when I think it was, maybe Checkmate Humanity. I think it was her panel I was on with Jen. But anyway, it was her dog, and TT has one too. They have the exact dog that Kaylee, it is Lynn. Lynn and TT both have a golden doodle, the exact dog that Kaylee had. Now, that dog looks like a little pretty poodle, but let me tell you what, it barked while we were live. And it was barking like at another dog or something outside. So it was like a very stout, loud, like this bark, it sounded like it almost came from like some sort of like German Shepherd, or it was very
they're technically a medium-sized dog, and you have to remember it was also enough for that neighboring I don't know if it's Ring or CCTV, but it was at least 50 feet away, which again, you have the dog barking, you have the ability to pick up whimpers and a thud. Now you tell me what camera sitting on a house over 50 feet away has the ability to pick up a thud, but you're telling me somebody sitting a couple of feet away who was already on alert because she physically got up 3 times, you're telling me that you wouldn't have clearly, audibly heard what was going on. And again, I'm not trying to say that to victim blame versus, I think she was awake, and I do not think she went to bed after that. I think that she probably stayed awake. She probably waited for Bethany to wake up, and then from there, they summoned friends. But the biggest question I have is what time? There's a big difference if friends were summoned right before 911 was called versus were friends summoned hours prior to 911 being called.
Right. And, when they describe showing up on the scene, I think it was the police chief, he was describing the scene that morning in one of his interviews, and he said there were kids everywhere. There were kids screaming, asking who was in the house, people out there, with their phones demanding who it was. It was a huge scene, and a lot of kids got there quickly. So yeah, but that golden doodle, I'm telling you, the noise, I just don't, you cannot sleep through that. There's absolutely no way. The bark was so stout. There's no way. So I believe it probably would have, even on the bottom floor, I'm not sure you could sleep through that.
And there's anyone who is familiar with dogs, there's a different type of bark. So the bark that you experienced was a happy, most likely, squirrel, rough, versus a dog who is sensing danger and there's something going wrong. That's even more of an aggressive, loud, deep bark.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And oh God, I just wonder, I don't know. I got so many questions. Ooh, thank you. About it all. So do you think the trial will actually happen in October? Because, I think they're going to be very careful about, push, his right to a speedy trial, because if they violate his rights, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't anticipate anything about this case to go smoothly. I was surprised with how soon the trial was even scheduled for. I found it interesting that Anne said that they needed at least 6 weeks. I think, like I've been saying this from the beginning, I think we're going to get thrown a curveball. And I think that defense is going to bring their game with this. And I don't know what game that is. I don't know. But I think that we're going to be shocked.
Oh, I completely agree. Well, this is the thing with Lori Vallow. They didn't want to sever the cases. The prosecution, but sorry, I got a bite of chicken noodle soup. But the state didn't want to sever the cases because they were very similar. They didn't want to put the parents to that. They didn't want to present it twice. But because she refused to waive her right to a speedy trial, the judge had to sever the cases. So I think that they're going to be really careful on, on messing with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But all right, I'll hop back down and chat, but you're doing an amazing job, and thank you for letting me up.
Oh, well, thank you. And I'll be over there. I know you're going to cover this at 7, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we will be over there for sure. And I'll talk to you a little bit later. Thank you, Melissa, for coming and sharing.
Everyone, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up, people. All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Crime sleuthing. In case it helps, my dad passed Saturday. We found him Sunday. There was no smell yet, and the heat was on. Oh, interesting. What's your opinion on Dateline saying BK bought the knife on Amazon? Well, Peace Dog, I find, everything that comes out in those kind of things, I find very interesting. But I just can't buy into them easily because, if we can't hear who the source is, if it's not I don't know. So I'm waiting on that. I'm waiting for an opinion on that, to be honest. The same thing with like the cameras. It'll be really interesting to see it all come out. And that's the same way I feel about him messaging the girls on Instagram and all the other rumors that we've heard along the way. Now, some of them have turned out to be true. Ashley Banfield will come out and say, something, and it'll prove to be true the next day, but I don't know. I've also seen the opposite. Jennifer Coffindaffer says, please see below, talking regarding Bryan Kohberger's decision to stand and verbally plead. Always good to hear from practicing defense attorneys. 2 sides to every pancake. Then she says, she believes that he enjoyed hearing the judge say not guilty. I think he discussed the options with his attorney long before he sat down at the table, which is interesting. Let me see what else is on Twitter. I'm trying to find Steve Gonsalves' interview that he did outside of the courthouse. Nancy Grace weighs in. Ooh. Let's see what she has to say. I always like to hear from her. Nancy Grace weighs in. Oh, this is before. Said he'll likely enter a not guilty plea. Grace, who has handled numerous felony arraignments during her time as a prosecutor, said there isn't much of a chance of Kohberger entering a guilty plea, given that his sentence, if convicted, could be the death penalty. Oh, here's a clip of it. Let's hear it. Let's just hear for ourselves. Now, this was before, but I still want to hear her thoughts on this. Thank you guys for being here, by the way.
The Idaho murders, the Bryan Kohberger, the suspect, facing a number of different charges, getting arraigned today. In fact, the charges against Bryan Kohberger, 4 counts of first-degree murder, felony burglary. He faces the possible sentences if found guilty, death penalty, and life in prison for the killing of those 4 folks you're looking at there. Nancy Grace is the host of Crime Stories on Fox Nation. She joins us now. Good morning, Nancy. Today's the arraignment. What technically happens?
Marcus.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me. Typically, in an arraignment, and I've handled literally thousands of felony arraignments, the defendant, Bryan Kohberger, will be brought in the courtroom. All your orders will be with him. His name will be called out. He will approach the podium and enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. I don't think there's much of a chance of him entering a guilty plea to a case where he could get the death penalty. If he doesn't enter a plea, his lawyer will say it for him. If neither of them speak, the law presumes a not guilty plea, and the judge will enter a not guilty plea for him. This really sets the beginning of the road to trial. Interesting. A preliminary hearing, much like the O.J. Simpson preliminary hearing, was set to be had later in June. That was ended. All talk of that was got the kibosh, and they did a secret grand jury, which was much more prudent. So state's witnesses would not be cross-examined not once but twice. Now, this today, the arraignment, comes on the heels of a very disturbing discovery, Brett, and that is an allegation that just before the 4 murders of these beautiful Idaho University students, Bryan Kohberger went into a female colleague's apartment, moved objects around, manipulating her into telling him about it at work, and he offered to put in a security surveillance system and then had access so he could watch.
See, like, just, I don't know. Now, look, I got to admit, because Amber brought this point up today about Dateline being very reputable. And I think that is true. And then Jen said, well, they're still wrong sometimes. They were wrong with the West Memphis 3. And that is a case that Jen, she knows like the back of her hand. So I think we just have to wait and see. My approach is, unless we hear it from law enforcement or in some sort of official document, I'm not going to count on it. And that's kind of just where I'm at. Hey, Bendy, you're back.
Hey, babe. I told you I'd be right back. It was just a quickie powwow.
Well, what Melissa was talking about, I found it in the affidavit because I got it saved on the computer. And it says the combination of Dylan's statements, reviews of forensic downloads, and records of Bethany and Dylan's phone leads investigators to believe that homicides occurred between 4 and 4:25. So, okay. Wolfie's got some videos that I want us to react to that she said are really good little TikToks. So let me go grab those.
Okay.
Are you excited for graduation?
I am. But I got to tell y'all, I don't know what Florida is on today or this whole week in general, even though it's Monday, but this weather is disrespectful. It's never been this hot. I know in other parts of Florida, it's hotter than the 9th circle of hell, but it's never been this hot in this part of Florida. And it is disrespectful. Like, you walk out that door and it just smacks you in the face. It's very rude.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that. And it gets like that here where we're at in the Outer Banks. Like, but if you're right on the water, you get that wind. But if not, it's like you can't even breathe. You know what I mean? It's just so.
Yes.
I hate that. Okay, here's our first one. This is, I think, the family coming in, but I don't know. So let's check it out.
Okie doke.
For their afternoon newscast. All right, so here we see some family members. Jennifer, who do you recognize?
I'm just gonna play the music. If it strikes me, I mean, it is what it is. So I was gonna
Well,
stop it, but I don't care. What? Uh-oh. We're missing everything you're saying. I couldn't hear any of it. It's okay, Wolfie. I'm just gonna play it. Here, I'll share their links, Tiff. Here's Bendy's. Jen, are you there? Because I didn't hear anything that you said.
Yes, I'm here. Okay, so I was just going to say, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yep.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
YouTube has a new thing where you can mute out just the music.
Ooh.
So worst case scenario, if they give you a strike, you can choose to mute the song. If it doesn't work, you can just choose to mute the entire audio of the portion of the copyrighted or copyright claim or whatever.
Okay, well, good. And if like JB's talking over it and stuff, I don't know, would it still flag in the system or like that?
I don't know. It might. TikTok is different, so I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, babe.
Oh, Tiffany, I love you guys too, and I so appreciate you guys. I love hearing from all of you guys. Like, I really do. It's so interesting to get the input of not only my friends, but all of you are my friends. But some of my friends up on the panel, and then also the chat. Okay, I'll start it over.
Afternoon newscast. All right, so here we see.
I couldn't agree more. One who sees
some family members.
Oh,
Jennifer, who do you recognize here?
Well, I have to get on my glasses to answer that question.
Well, put on your glasses
There is,
then.
that is Kaylee's sister.
Yes,
and
the
her baby.
Gonzalez are here.
Yes, these are the Gonzalez's.
And his attorney. And then you also see, well, both Gonzalez's are there. His attorney is in the background. And then, of course, his sister. I would believe that is entirely Goncalves family and friends.
1 minute ago, Bryan Empton tweeting, Bryan Kohberger just entered the courtroom. Still no tweet from Bryan signifying that Judge has entered the courtroom yet for the arraignment to officially begin. Once, of course, he enters the courtroom, that will signify the beginning of the arraignment. Again, the arraignment is going to be a formal presentation of the charges from the indictment. And then, of course, Bryan Kohberger is expected.
Which two, Marcus? I know my name isn't Allie, but I'm curious.
But we'll, of course, follow this in real time on Twitter. And then the moment that we're allowed to give you the video from inside and transmit the video from inside the courtroom, we'll do so here live. You see some people making it up the stairs and into the Latah County courtroom. This is believed to be in the last hour at some point.
God.
Again, this is courtesy of our
I just hate it. I hated it so much. But okay, let's see. Is there any other ones you were here, Wolfie? I think I've got the other one. I'll send. I don't know. It might take me a minute to send. But I'm gonna try. Let's see. Jen?
Oh, I know that story. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jordan and Riddler. Jordan's been a member for 16 months. Oh my God, Jordan.
Yay, Jordan.
Wow, wow, wow. And Riddler for 6 months. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys. Oh my God. People on Reddit are saying he made a face when they said Maddie's name. That's what Jordan said. That's interesting.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Here, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to pull up TikTok really fast because I think that I could find, they usually have some interesting stuff. And then we're going to switch over to talk about Madeline for a few minutes. How do you say her last name?
Spell it for me. Pantoja.
Yep.
Pantoja.
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 Toha.
Pantoja.
Okay. Gosh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I knew you would know. Okay. Ooh, we got a few here. So yeah, we're going to play through and see. Oh, Chronicles of Olivia is the first. Here's
Members of the victims enter Latah County. Moments after family members of the victims enter Latah County Courthouse.
Wonder who that is in the
Bryan Kohberger.
in the pink.
When Ryan was after family members of the.
Hold on. Sorry. I
don't
just
know.
want to see. I wonder if that is one of the
Oh,
girls.
Woofy.
Oh, what'd she say? Bendy's so
Bendy
smart.
is so smart, and Woofy just loves it. 11 billion exclamation points. Thank you.
The victims enter Latah County Courthouse. Suspect Bryan Kohberger pleads not guilty.
Well, I think
in
I know who
connection
this
to the murder
TikToker
of
is.
4 University of Idaho students on November 13th. Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Zaina Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. When Ryan was asked for his plea, he remained silent. Then his attorney stood up and said, "Your Honor, we are standing
Okay, I'm
silent."
gonna actually change it. The dramatics are a little much. I get it for the purposes of if you're making a documentary and stuff, you do add music and everything. Right now we're keeping it factual and stuff, so the dramatics just
Breaking news, here is video.
Disrespectful, so I'm just gonna change it.
Well, I was thinking about this standing silent, and there could also be another reason they did it. It could also be that it might have been very important for Ann Taylor to have the judge say the words "not guilty," because Bryan does have the presumption of innocence. That is how our system works. And let's be honest, I'm guilty of it too. I've kind of tried him in the court of public opinion. And that's maybe what she's trying to remind everybody. Sometimes not saying anything is more impactful than actually speaking. Unless you're me and you read people for filth. And then that might not be true. I don't know.
Amber says he did have a reaction to Maddie. In this video, I clicked to, it says his body language as Judge. I'm sorry. I think of you every
Judge every time. I love it.
I think of you every time. Like when I was watching Law and Crime earlier, they were saying Judge John Judge. And it just I got a kick out of that because they were not saying Judge. But, okay. Let's see let's watch his body language. I want to see this.
All right.
All right, I'm going to read you the charges on the indictment, starting with count 1, burglary. That was a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-1401 and 1403. This alleges that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did unlawfully enter a residence located at 1122 King Road, Moscow, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder. Count 2, murder in the first degree. That was a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. This alleges that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogan, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogan, from which she died. Count 3, murder in the first degree, a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. This alleges that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Kayla Gonsalves, a human being, by stabbing Kayla Gonsalves, from which she died. Count 4, murder in the first degree. That's a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. alleging that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Lake County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Zana Kernodle. Excuse me. This is hard. I'm sorry. Zana Kernodle, a human being, by stabbing Zana Kernodle, from which she died. Count 5, murder in the first degree. This is a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-4001, 4002.
Absolutely, Wolfie. Allie knows how to get a hold of me.
You, on or about November 13, 2022, in Lake County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Ethan Chacon, a human being, by stabbing Ethan Chacon, from which he died. This is signed on May 16, 2023, by the presiding grand jury. All right, I'm going to read you.
So I couldn't really see it, but
yeah, I didn't see it either. I don't know that it was like anything, and it's almost like it wasn't about the name. It was more about the judge not pronouncing words correctly.
Yes, I agree. Now, this one right here in the beginning, he does like do an interesting thing to the attorney. Like he almost wants to smile, but it's almost as if he realizes that it's inappropriate. Watch him right here. That's like the main thing I picked up on. And I think he knows, he's very well aware that his eyes are all over him. Mm-hmm. And every move he makes is going to be talked about. That's just,
yeah.
But did you see where he looked at the attorney? It's right here in a second. There we go. Hold on. Oh no, that's not it. Maybe again in a second. But he like glanced at her and like did a little smile, but he like right here. See?
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm. Let me go back just a second and just to catch that one more time.
So standing silent just means that the defendant is not going to enter a plea out of their own mouth. And when that happens, the judge just enters a not guilty plea for the defendant. It's absolutely, and they don't ever enter a guilty plea. If they stand silent, the plea is entered as not guilty.
Okay, let me see what this one is. This says, and then we're gonna switch and talk about Madeline, but I don't want to miss anything here. Let me see.
Discovery, Brett, and that is an allegation that just before the 4 murders of the arraignment comes on the heels of a very disturbing discovery, Brett, and that is an allegation that just before the 4 murders
from
of these beautiful items,
man, they're talking
we're experiencing now as we wait for
Dateline stuff.
Mm-hmm.
the video.
There it is.
Him coming in, I suppose. Okay. I didn't see this. What do you read from Ann Taylor, Jen? Anything?
Breaking news. Bryan Kohberger has entered
Nothing. She's comfortable in a courtroom. That's about it.
Okay.
I am kind of curious. I tried to look earlier. I kind of was trying to see what kind of handbag she was carrying, because I was quite impressed with her purse, which I'm not usually. I'm not a purse gal. I do have a couple of really nice ones, but they were gifts. Nothing that I've ever bought myself or whatever by myself. But I liked her handbag for some reason. It caught my attention and I was curious about it. And I tried to zoom in and see it, but Alas, I could not. The camera angle was too wonky. But to me, she looks very comfortable in a courtroom. She knows what to expect. I mean, this isn't like a huge deal what happened today, and arraignment is fairly straightforward. But she walks in with her head up, with her shoulders back. She's confident. She exudes confidence.
I agree.
And I mean, if I had all that education behind me, I would be confident AF too. I'm not going to lie.
Oh yeah, she is very confident. I think that, well, we know she wanted this case. She at least after it was given to her, she wanted it. Instead of like she dropped other cases to be able to keep it and stuff like that. And I think that this could be a career building case with all the attention. She's well aware of that. She's no dummy, right? Because she's a lawyer.
Right.
We know she's no dummy. So I think that she's very confident. And I almost think that like I could see people looking at Bryan a little differently than maybe possibly other offenders that that are obviously criminals.
Right. Well,
now this right here is not Bryan. I double checked this. It does look like him. It's someone who was on Google Maps. I pulled it up myself on Google Maps, but it was taken in like 2020 or so. Or look, you can see it right there, 2021. It's not him,
yeah,
but it's okay. Sorry.
Okay, so I wanted to say this about her. The thing of it is, as far as taking this case, I actually admire her, and I'll tell you why. Because she has a lot of education and she is death penalty qualified. That's a specialty. And yet she is working in the public defender's office. If it was, I actually think that her true ambition behind getting this, wanting to take this case, has less to do with building her career per se, but more about she believes in our justice system and wants to be sure that the due process is followed and that Bryan Kohberger, has a good defense, that his trial is fair. And because she's, because if she really wanted to make a name for herself, she wouldn't be in the public defender's office.
Right.
She would be in the private sector. So, I mean, there might be a little bit of that ambition there, but I think I think maybe it might be more like the public defender's office gets a bad rap. And I want to show everybody that in this public defender's office, which I run, we are not subpar here. We're going to do everything in our capabilities to ensure that he mounts a vigorous defense and that his right to a fair trial is upheld. I think that is her ambition.
Look, Woofy says, Allie, can we share Bendy? I don't know about that, Woofy. I keep you guys separate for a reason. We all don't get together and boot me out. No, I'm just kidding. So Jordan says, female Jose Baez. I want to check this out, and then we're going to change gears for a few minutes, for like 30 minutes.
Okay, dope.
Only reason I want to check this out is because she has posted a statement from the Gonsalves family from today after court. This is a TikToker called London Not Bridge. I've watched some of her videos. I think that she does a pretty good job at putting the facts out there. I've seen some discrepancies, and some things that were not correct, but that happens to all of us. So, Okay. Oh, actually, that was Amber's video we were just watching. Look, ATS News of him coming in.
Yay!
Okay, so here she posted the Gonsalves family. So they're statement.
Okay.
And Kohberger standing in silence to plead not guilty. At this time, the Gonsalves family have released a statement in regards to the arraignment and Kohberger standing in silence to plead not guilty. The family would like to thank everyone for continuing to follow this case and keep the memories of Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan alive. They are what is important, not the defendant. We are thankful that the Latah County District Attorney's Office finally took a case to grand jury and came back with an indictment. At the same time, we are disappointed that the judicial process has not been more effective in addressing the gag order. This is just the beginning of a long journey for all the families, and we are thankful for your continued support and coverage. At this time, the Gonzalez family have released a statement in regards to the arraignment and Kohberger standing in silence.
I've saw people saying that he could have been something about online classes and this and that. But also I know that his mom made a post like about him moving, which if that was his mom, his age was incorrect. There's some weird stuff around that. I don't know. I don't believe when I just hear things like that, it's really hard for me to believe it, you know.
I know that he did come out to check out Washington State. That I do recall hearing that and that being verified, but not like it was like right before he ended up starting school, like maybe a month or two before. That's what I remember, but don't take my word for it, you guys, because I'd be forgetting.
Right. Well, I mean, think about all the cases that we've covered in the meantime since this happened, and we were really talking about this a lot, and there's been a lot of info. So for me, it's really hard to remember exactly when we are, so.
And we can remember what we heard, right? That sticks with us for whatever reason, but we can never but for me, I'll say me. For me, I have a hard time when too much time passes remembering what was corroborated and what wasn't. What's been verified and what hasn't. But I do think that him coming out to visit the campus and whatnot, I do think that did happen. But I don't think it was like he wasn't there, it's like a weekend deal.
Right. Yeah. And that Google image of the person walking around back in 2021 or whenever is not him. He came out to visit I just don't see that at all. That's just so far-fetched to me. But anyways.
I've never seen Google Earth images like that where they actually show somebody's face. I have a meme that says it's a person in an orange jumpsuit. It's very clearly a prisoner, and his face is blurred out. Well, and it says, Google will show your location, but they ain't finna snitch you out. Something like that. I have to find it.
It is.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of looks like it does look like it could be him, but it just with the date, it makes no sense. Okay, so we're going to switch gears to talk about this case that I mentioned to you guys the other day. We did a live on it before there was an arrest. So this is Madeline Pantoja.
Pantoja.
I'm trying.
You're doing fine. Pantoja. It's fine.
And she's 20. Thank you. She's 20 years old. The media, of course, has gotten it wrong a few times. You'll keep seeing articles that she's 21. She was not 21. She was 20 years old. She has unfortunately been found deceased. Let me show you a few pictures of her, though, you guys. If you didn't watch my live the other day, she's absolutely drop dead gorgeous, and maybe that was the wrong turn of phrase. I'm sorry for that. She's just a beautiful girl, and her she was actually not even in the relationship anymore, but she had an abusive ex-boyfriend, and he was very controlling, and neighbors heard a fight coming from the apartment in the middle of the night. They also have footage of his truck leaving the scene, and that's kind of all we know. And at the time of my last video, the friend was speaking out saying, police they're not even calling him a prime suspect or anything. Little did she know they were onto him. And let me show you guys the article from him being arrested, and then we're going to look at details with his affidavit. So his bond was set at $3 million. This is him, Mario Chacon. He just
Chacon.
looks to me. Chacon. Okay.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Chacon. Thank you. And yeah, he just has a creepy look, doesn't he? Like I don't know. The look in his eyes creeps me out. But anyways, let me just read this quickly to you guys, and then we'll get to the affidavit. So the bond for him was set at $3 million. Apparently, it went out that it was $300 million. That was an error.
Dear.
Yeah.
You ain't never getting out. Who's asking for that bail? Dr. Evil?
Yeah. The Midland County Sheriff's Office current detainee list first showed that a bond has been set for $300 million. Kreiner later confirmed the number is $3 million and the website would be fixed. There's video of him being arrested, and I've got that here too. But since we have the details of the affidavit, I think that I want to jump right into that because that is really interesting. It says phone records, traffic cameras. Ooh. Phone records and traffic cameras used to arrest him. Mm-hmm. I love when we get these. Like, this is so. I love getting affidavits and looking through all the detail like that. I turn into a little bit of a nerd. It's just interesting and it's fun. Okay. It says, let's see. Madeline Pantoja, a missing Midland woman, was found dead on Saturday, May 20th near East County Road 190 and South County Road 1138. I actually have a little graph I'll show you guys. Jamie, Texas chick, has been helping me a ton with this, sending me lots of little images, maps, helping me make sense of direction and stuff like that. So I will bring that up in a moment. But shortly after her body was found, police arrested her boyfriend, Mario. According to the arrest affidavit, Chacon and Pantoja were having relationship troubles before she went missing. Midland Police Department investigators spoke with her friends and family about the day she went missing. Several of her friends spoke with police on May 11th, saying they had plans to swim at her apartment complex, but when they arrived, she was not answering their calls or texts. She also did not answer when they knocked at her door. One friend noticed the door to her apartment was slightly cracked and a light was on. The friend left to go get food, but called another friend to tell her what was going on. Then, according to court documents, multiple friends went back and knocked on the door. The friend noticed the light was on the first time, now noticed the light was off. Wow. I didn't hear that in what we read before. And then they called her brother. So he must have been in there, I guess. He had a key to the house, and it was locked when the friends were there. Like, the only time that I heard that one, they weren't answering, and then I know that they ended up, like, breaking in. Okay. According to the arrest affidavit, Madeline's brother called Mario to ask if he had heard from her, but her brother told officers Mario was evasive and did not seem concerned that she hadn't been heard from. Mario said he had been with his dad all day, not with her. When Madeline's friends called Mario, he appeared to be declining calls. When Mario called back, he told friends that he had witnesses for today. This is a quote. He told friends that, quote, he had witnesses for today, and he's been at his house all day.
Oh, okay.
There's another part, Jen. The day before, her friend says that he was blowing Madeline up because Madeline was at her best friend's house all day the day before, and her phone was going off the hook, and she didn't want to go home. But she found her phone in the apartment the next day, and he hadn't even called once the next day. Madeline's friends were able to get the apartment maintenance to let them into the apartment. According to the arrest affidavit, the friends told Midland police that Madeline's purse, car keys, and phone were all in the apartment. They told officers her car was in the parking lot. Her dog did not have food or water, and puppy pads were full of dog waste. There was also a table missing from her living room. Madeline's friends told officers that these things were out of character and she doesn't leave her dog more than 2 hours at a time. That is interesting. The court documents show Midland police officers got apartment maintenance to let them into her apartment. Officers noticed there was a mop and a dirty bucket of water next to the front door, and the floor was sticky. Officers asked friends if Mario had a key, and one of the friends said she had seen him enter the apartment with a key before. Officers spoke with neighbors who said there was a man and woman yelling around 1:30 a.m., but the neighbor fell back asleep because there was often yelling coming from that apartment. Officers asked if the neighbor heard any screaming, like when someone is scared, and the neighbor said she heard a female scream. Oh, my God. Just wait, it gets worse. Oh, no, baby D. Oh, wait. Hold on. Pointer lover. Hold on. Let's see. Thank you. I missed that. I don't want to miss it. Oh, welcome, Eric. Thank you, Pointer Lover. Thank you for all your hard and honest work. You deserve the best. Oh, thank you. You deserve the best. Okay.
Allie does do a lot of good work. She really does. She really does. She should be praised for it because she does. She works very, very hard, and she wants to make sure that she is as accurate as possible. And if anything comes up and changes, she's always the first to get up there and correct it. So you do great work, Allie. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, Jen. I feel the
You're
same
welcome.
about you. And I kind of take the stance on that, you know, we're going to be wrong sometimes, but look, we're not, at the end of the day, we're not wrong if we correct it, but we're way wrong if we don't. And I've emailed a creator once about a really big case, or a really popular case for her. And I showed her that she was wrong about something with proof, and she never corrected it. And I'm like, dude, there's nothing wrong with being wrong, but if you don't correct it, like, dude, I just
right. Sometimes I'm wrong. I'm wrong quite frequently, if you want to know the truth.
Me too. But yeah, at least.
But I always try to learn from being wrong.
Oh, you guys are amazing. Thank you, guys. Okay. You're such a dude. Alex, you're such a dude. I try to tell you all the time. Okay. I emailed one creator several times and they just don't ever get it. Okay, let's keep reading. He had witnesses. I can't get over that statement.
Right.
Early morning on May 12th, MPD contacted Mario for a voluntary interview. According to court documents, Mario said the last time he saw Madeline was around 9 p.m. on May 10th. Around 11 a.m. on May 12th, MPD received a check welfare call on Madeline's apartment that indicated there was a woman inside the apartment, but when officers arrived, no one answered the door. According to the arrest affidavit, officers made entry into the apartment because Madeline was a missing person, and while searching, they found the mop and dirty water. They also noticed a hole in the bathroom door and in the bedroom door with hair attached to the damage in the door. Okay, before I go any further, I know that his sister was being very combative. You know, she was posting online that he actually hadn't been arrested. She was kind of talking a lot of shit. I know his dad was kind of wrapped up in this and possibly arrested as well. And the sister too. I don't have that confirmed. I mean, that's what the reports were saying at first, but I've never seen their mugshots or anything. And I know if the sister was arrested, she was immediately released because she was online that night on social media. Okay. The arrest affidavit states officers found the comforter on the bed was missing and there was a dark red stain on the bed sheet, but they didn't find Madeline. Based on the statements from her friends and family about her being missing and what officers found in the apartment, they suspected foul play on the 12th, all the way back to the 12th. Okay, court documents show around 5:45 on May 12th, they interviewed Mario again, saying he was free to leave at any time. Mario said he went to have drinks with his cousin on May 10th and returned home around 11 p.m. after dropping off his cousin at his apartment, which was in the same complex as Madeline. Oh, imagine that. Mario said he was the only one to drive his truck in the month of May and did not leave his home after 11 on May 10th. Officers got security camera footage that showed a pickup truck near an oil company around Madeline's apartment that matched the description of his truck, and that was at 1:59 a.m. According to the affidavit, a flock camera shows the license plate of Mario's car in South County Road at 3:22 a.m. On May 18th, they interviewed him again. He was free to leave at any time. According to the affidavit, when he was told that officers found lies in his timeline, he said okay and asked to leave. The affidavit states that officers attempted to do a polygraph, but he refused. Investigators reported that on May 13th, they obtained a search warrant for his phone number. The records came in on May 20th and were sent to Texas Rangers. The Rangers mapped the geolocations for the phone from May 10th to May 12th. It showed an approximate 1 mile area around East County Road 190 in South County Road 1138. This location was used for MPD and Texas Rangers to conduct a search, and according to the arrest affidavit, that is where her body was found. Wow, that's pretty good evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Her body is being sent to Dallas for an autopsy, and he was arrested for murder. $3 million bond. Wow. So tell me about the Texas Rangers, Jen, because you would know, and I don't know much about them.
So, like, you know how Tennessee has TBI?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Texas Rangers are.
Oh,
They're
okay.
our state police.
Now, are they really good? Hey, Mrs. Emmons.
Yes.
That's really sweet. That's
yes,
what I
they're very, very good. Very, very, very good.
Any immediate thoughts on any of this?
I just sounds like I don't know. It feels like he was thinking that he was losing her and he couldn't have her, and so nobody else was going to either.
I agree.
I just
totally agree. And it's, and why does it keep happening, right? Because you keep seeing cases like this, and these young kids, number one, they're young as hell. They've ruined, he's ruined his whole life, and she doesn't have one anymore. And it reminds me of like Gabby Petito and Bryan Laundrie. It's just,
yeah. I just, it's so, it's, I don't know. It's heartbreaking. I don't understand it. I don't know. I can't wrap my brain around it, I'm of the opinion if you love something, set it free. And if it comes back to you, it's yours. If it doesn't, it was never yours to begin with. That's kind of how I be rolling. That's how I think. But yeah.
Wait, Jamie, where was that at? I didn't see it in that article. It said that she was found in that coffee table. Wait a minute. Did I miss that? Let me go back.
I didn't see that in the article, but I have to confess I'm making a thumbnail for tonight. So I was looking, but not like, like super close.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. Let me see here. It says the geolocation, according to the arrest affidavit, that's where her body was found. This one doesn't say that, but that is very interesting. Was it like a trunk type coffee table? Hey, Mystic, good to see you. Oh, Jen, how sad.
I know.
And holes in the wall with her hair in them still. Oh my God,
yeah, it sounds brutal.
Oh, okay. I see. It's in this article. I'm just going to grab it and read off my phone because if my computer dies, I'm going to come in on my phone. It says, let's see, shortly after the body was found. Hold on. The light was on. It's a very similar. Oh, that's not it. The second one. Maybe it's in the first one then. I think I read I read the second one you sent me. It says her body was found in a field last weekend. Hold on, let's see. It talks about her brother and her friend. This is a really good article, actually. Maybe I'll do a little pre-recorded video and show you guys this. If that affidavit comes out, you can guarantee I'll be doing something with it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Talks about the lies. A source close to the investigation. Okay, yeah. It says May 20th, detective used his phone to map out an area where she went missing. Geolocations reportedly showed it within a 1-mile area. Investigators found her remains and reportedly identified her by the jewelry she was wearing. A source close to the investigation said Pantoja was found lying in the coffee table and had gone missing from her apartment. My God. Oh, I got the affidavit. at the bottom
Okay.
there was a link, and we're not going to do it right now because my computer's going to die. But
Okay.
yeah, we will go over it, and I'm going to read it when I get off here. Yay! Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
You've been so incredible. Thank you so much. So Jen, what are your
Yes.
thoughts? What are we doing tonight? Search and rescue.
Well, since we've already kind of gone over everything Kohberger as far as up to this point, tonight we're going to do Melanie BP, and I think I want to start. I always like to start chronologically, so I would like to start with her earliest interviews. So probably that'll be like her the interrogation, the body cam, and maybe interrogation. I like to go in chronological order because I feel like the best. I like to see if people change their stories based on new information coming out. Right. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I did listen to her part of her interrogation with the Gilbert Police Department way back when it all came out. And I have to say, you guys, the thing that struck me was it's not just what she said. I mean, those things struck me, the allegations that she made, but also that she said it in front of her child was in the room playing.
Right.
And I just felt like, I know that she probably did, I get it. It was my job 25/8 with my kiddos. So if I'd have been hauled down to the popos, I probably would have had to bring my kids too. But I just felt like I didn't watch it all, so I have to be fair here. But I never heard her say anything like, is there a different room we can talk in? Some of the stuff I don't want my child to hear. You know what I mean? There just wasn't any of that. And I just and she's bashing the dad,
oh, God.
And I feel very strongly about that. I feel like as a parent, you can feel and are entitled to feel however you want about your children's other parent. But I just don't think it's a good idea to talk shit about the other parent in front of the child, because I always feel like I think the child takes that on, because we always talk about with kids, oh, you're part of me and you're part of your dad. You know what I mean? And so I feel like in a way you're like bashing part of them. I don't know. I always feel bad. I just don't like to see it, especially some of these accusations she was making.
Well, I learned something, and this was when, because Bentley's dad and I, we had a really hard time for a while with this kind of stuff. And I learned that
I bet her computer bit it. Okay. So yeah, I want to know what Melanie BP knew. When did she know it? Because again, we didn't get to hear her testify. And I do that reminds me, I have not forgotten. We're going to do it chronologically. So obviously this will come at a different point in time, but I do want to go over at some point the interview that Nate Eaton gave. Well, not really the interview, but the live that he made where he talks about it, because I want to know what exactly it was that she watched. Did she watch all of the testimony and read headlines? Like, what was the deal? That's what I want to figure out too. So, but that's the last thing we're going to listen to, because obviously, Well,
I had something really profound to say. And then
yes.
No, but seriously, I learned that a child they know children are not dumb. They know
Mm-hmm.
mommy, half daddy. And if you constantly bash daddy, then they start to, or mom, then they start to think part of me is bad. And and it can also, it can change their perception of themselves.
Exactly.
It's really bad for them. So, yeah. But hey, do we have do you have the Melanie Gibb or Melanie not Gibb BP with Nate Eaton?
What do you mean? Like, do I have
The she did a sit down with him, and I think she also did one with like the major news.
Okay, if not, I can't. I mean, I don't have anything downloaded, but I can absolutely find it. And
Well, I can help
yeah,
you.
that's no big deal, but a big deal. But I feel like that would have come after the fact, right? So after no, when would that have happened?
They happened well before the kids were found and stuff, but after this, they were missing.
But before or after the shooting?
After.
Okay. See, that's how I want to do it. I want to go chronologically, like that. Like I want to, what is wrong with me that I can't talk? I want to cover the case the way that it unfolded in real time. So I want to cover, I don't think we're going to be able to cover the Dateline interview because they get a little persnickety about that kind of stuff, and they like to give you a copyright claim. But even if you credit them, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. So I think I'll wait. Like I want to start with, I'm going to go and look right now after we get off of here for all of her interviews and statements, etc. And I want to review them in chronological order, the way that they happened in real time. I can't even I obviously am having difficulty talking. Perhaps I shouldn't even go live at all.
No, we're going to have fun. I think it's going to be really interesting. And Eric, thank you for gifting that membership. Actually, you guys, I have a giveaway. I'm not going to choose on the live. As soon as this is over, I'm going to go do the random comment generator and choose a winner. It's so if you want any memberships or you just became a member, it's under the membership tab, and go leave a comment so that you're entered. And then like 10 minutes after the live, I'll do the, random comment generator because I wanted to do it like really fast. But anyway, all right, Jen. Well, I guess I'll see you tonight. Thank you for go through all of this, and yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well, thanks for having me.
And then yeah, and we also, with Bryan Kohberger, we didn't do anything with the second hearing that they had today.
No, but that one is kind of like inconclusive, like they're waiting.
Right.
There was no conclusion to it, so we have to wait until June.
Okay.
So when we could talk about it a little bit, but there's nothing to really talk about because nothing was really resolved. We're all going to just be,
We can, yeah, but if we get a minute, let's discuss it some, because I have some thoughts on the judge's opinions on the media and all of it. I have some thoughts on it all, but I won't get
okay. Absolutely.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you guys for being here in the chat. I appreciate you guys so much. Yay, I'm getting a peace dog. There's a thing that will choose a random comment out of, for you from YouTube. Or like one before I've actually written the names down and had Bentley draw before, or just like close my eyes and scroll through really fast. But the random comment generator is like, it's a computer, so it makes it really fair. But
yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Bendy. I love and appreciate you. I love and appreciate you guys in the chat and the mods and everybody. And tomorrow, hopefully like tomorrow, during the day sometime, I will go through the affidavit that we talked about today. And yeah, don't forget to enter the giveaway. Melissa Jade has a live in a few minutes at 7:00 on the Bryan Kohberger stuff if you're interested in more of that. And then I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.